What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the AATBirds official NFL mock draft here on the AAT Sports Network. I am Chip at Chip for the Birds, joined by Johnny U at Johnny U9322 and Mike at something you can't see his name, but I think it's Rewind CEO or some shenanigans like that.
It is.
AKA Draft Kenny Pickett. Adam checking in. What's up? So because look, it's 32 picks. We got to get going right on this. We got a lot of great sponsors. The links are all in the bios. We'll run them down. We'll sneak them in as we go through the show. We'll go to commercial breaks and things like that. All of our socials are down there. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, sharing. If you want to comment on our picks, you can't do it on Twitter until Elon Musk fixes it, but you can do it on YouTube and you can do it on Facebook. So get all up in those comments. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
I think we're doing great. I can't wait to get this started.
Mike, are you excited to try and sneak a Kenny Pickett draft pick?
Hey, it's one of those things where the quarterback situation in Philadelphia, as well as the rest of the NFL, is going to be just curious how they handle it the next couple of years. You know what I mean? Jalen Hurts is going into his third season. Not taking him in the first round means we don't have the fifth-year option. So really tough decision to make after the season, because that's typically when a quarterback gets extended. So just curious to see how it goes. You know what I mean? I'm excited for the season. The draft being here is great. I'm excited for the draft to be over too. Doing a lot of prep work at the Dynasty Rewind. So looking forward to just taking a couple days to decompress afterwards. And then we are right back to it, both there and here. So I am excited.
Agreed. So, Johnny, why don't you explain a little bit about what this is going to look like tonight?
So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be picking for all 32 teams.
All 32
teams. Well, not all 32 teams, all 32 picks, because multiple teams have extra picks. We're not going to do any trades. That just jumbles everything up. And it's those are just so hard to predict. Of course, we could possibly see trades. If there's a trade where we can see a spot where a team trades out of it, we can certainly mention that when we're making the pick. But we're going to be picking for 32 picks in the first round. It's going to be going in order. It's going to start with Chip, then it's going to go to Mike, then it's going to go to me, and then we're going to keep, cycling through, getting the picks, and going from there. It's going to be fun. There may be some surprises. Some picks people won't like, some picks people may like. So I can't wait to get it started.
Cool.
So I will say that there's nothing that infuriates people more than mock drafts.
Absolutely.
True.
When
Very
they
true.
See, someone go to their team that they didn't want, that and Elon Musk buying Twitter are the two things that apparently, and Amber Heard. Okay, those are the three things that are infuriating people the most right now.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Covered it all.
And Angel Hernandez. You can just sneak in Angel Hernandez.
There you go. Angel, you're pissing everyone off.
All right, well, we're going to have some fun. So, Mike, I do believe that I am on the clock.
Yes, you are.
And the pick is in with the number 1 overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. The Jacksonville Jaguars select Aiden Hutchinson, edge rusher, Michigan.
Okay, let's stop. Sorry, that one didn't want to stop right away.
Here's the thing. Look, I know there's been a lot of conversation over the past couple of days about this pick not being the pick. But I think he played at such an exceptionally high level the entire season for an exceptionally great program. I just think it is the surefire pick. And Jacksonville Jaguars, they need to hit here. And they need to start building on their defense, especially with, Doug Peterson will be running the offense into the ground. So my pick is Aiden Hutchinson for Michigan, and Adam Mack agrees. Thanks. Appreciate you, buddy.
And, it's an interesting pick. They just extended Cam Robinson, who's their left tackle. He was their franchise tag. The thing with them is a lot of people talking about the offensive tackles and maybe them going and getting an offensive tackle. But again, you need to shore up that defense. You have Josh Allen there as an edge rusher. You need to get another edge rusher. So Hutchinson, there's a couple of edge rushers out there you could possibly see taken.
This is black. It's black.
A lot of people have mocked Aiden Hutchinson, and of course he's a top 5 talent in this draft class. But him going to Jacksonville gives them another guy on the edge to pair up with They have Smoot as well as one of their backup defensive ends, and Josh Allen. They got to shore up that defense, and this is what that does for them.
Mike, do you think that this is a lock, or is it they're going to do something weird here?
I don't know. This is one of those years where at this point we already could, years past, we could have predicted the first 5 picks with relative, we could have said, I really feel how this is going. I have no idea. I really don't know. And I don't know what the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to do. I think that they made a really good hire with Doug Peterson. By the way, he's a guy that's going to bring stability to a program that needs some. But I don't know. I really don't. I know they're not taking a quarterback. That I know.
No.
Hopefully
they don't need that.
Hopefully Doug doesn't ruin Trevor Lawrence like he did with our guy. Well,
I think he will.
He could. You never know. So who is on the clock now?
It will be Mr. Bauer.
All right. That is me. So the pick is in. You do want me to play that every time, right?
Every
do
time.
to play that every time.
Perfect. So I did see a lot of mocks this week. I like to look at mock drafts so I can get infuriated for no reason. I saw a lot of people taking Malik Willis at number 2. I have news for people. That doesn't mean that's who I'm taking. I don't think Malik Willis is worthy of the number 2 overall pick. No. Really high ceiling, really low floor. There is a world called reality where I don't think the Detroit Lions take any offensive skill players at this point in the draft. They're going to need to build, and the way you build is you build through the lines. My pick is Trayvon Walker, defensive end from Georgia. This Georgia defense. You want to talk about just a nasty defense. I really think that the Georgia defense as a unit was better than the Philadelphia Eagles defense last year. You watched the playoffs, right? You watched all the playoff games, the college playoffs. Those guys were nasty. They were everywhere. And Trayvon Walker, I think he's the guy who's leading the charge. He's my guy. Sorry, my cat's bothering me now. Please go over there.
I think it's an interesting pick. When you looked and you saw all of the Lions' needs, it's extensive. So you really can't go wrong with whoever you pick. And now, there's been a lot of talk about Trayvon Walker being the number 1 overall pick. He's kind of come on in the last couple of weeks. So I think it's a strong pick. I think that, he'll lead the knee biting persuasion.
Lovely.
Knee biting. You would do that to kneecaps. But, this is a good pick. The Lions need some defense. They need to shore up the defense. You could think of, Kayvon Thibodeau. But again, Trayvon Walker's getting a lot of run. A bigger guy, can play inside, can play outside. I know he only has 9.5 career sacks. I know that's been a little bit of a knock, but again, you always have these players that show the potential, and you got to look at the defensive line, and you look at the defensive players on that team. So he's a good player, and I think for this, like you said, Detroit needs to shore up their defense. If they don't, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
So far, 2 picks in. I don't think anything really crazy. Dave chiming in here saying that he thinks Walker goes 1 and Hutchinson goes 2. It's extremely realistic. I kind of started everything off by taking Hutchinson. So, the chips start to fall after that. Gator_J. What's up, guys? Tampa fan here, but a rewinder more importantly. I know that's Bauer's buddy.
I love Gator. This dude is amazing. Gator, you're my boy. Seriously, thank you. Thank you for all your support always.
We got Mikey checking in. Mikey, this is predicting the NFL draft, which is happening tomorrow. And Bobby's saying Howie's going to piss off a lot of Eagles fans by taking Matt Corral. Don't rip my head off. Go after Howie. Yeah, we have to deal with this tomorrow, I think.
I don't think so. I gotta be honest with you. Watching Matt Corral, scouting him, he's only a slightly better version of Jalen Hurts. And the way he runs, Jalen Hurts is a much better runner. Matt Corral is going to have major concussion issues if he keeps running he did in college. He does not know how to slide properly. His head is always upright. He took a lot of hits above the shoulders. So I don't know. There's a lot of people saying that Sam Howell is going to be the first quarterback off the board. If that's the case, then
if that's the case, the whole draft is thrown upside down.
No, thank you.
The entire draft is thrown upside down. And with that being said, Johnny is on the clock with the Texans.
Is the pick in so I can play the chime?
Is the pick in?
The pick is in. So thinking about this pick, you can go and say, hey, they need edge rushers. You look at the board, you see who's available. But you also look at this team and they need help pretty much everywhere. And with that, I'm going to be the first shakeup of the night.
Ooh.
And with the number 3 overall pick, the Houston Texans select Ahmad Sauce Gardner, cornerback from Cincinnati. Sorry. Best corner in the draft.
I love it.
Can play in any style of defense. To me, he is the unequivocal. He's the best player in this draft, in my opinion. I know the edge rushers
in the entire draft.
In the draft, I think he's going to step in day one, be a day one starter, and I think he's going to be able to. He's going to make a lot of Pro Bowls. He's going to do a lot of stuff. He's a very, very talented player, and the Houston Texans need a lot of help. And sure up the secondary, start there, get a high class quality corner in Sauce Gardner. I think that's where they go.
I mean, I do agree. I think that he is an exceptional talent. I'm really hopeful that the Eagles would be, in the running to get him, but I don't see him dropping. I don't see him dropping out of the top 5, let alone all the way to where the Eagles are. Yeah, I think it's a really I think all the picks so far have been very reasonable.
And you look, you have to kind of shake it up. Teams aren't going to go on script. There's going to be, I know Kayvon Thibodeau's sitting there. I understand that. I know they need edge help. But again, they need corner help. Their cornerback play was dreadful last year.
Yeah.
You have a player like Sauce Gardner available. You also have to remember, they also have a selection at number 13, I believe. So it's not like they just have 4 and then they're waiting for the second round. They still have another selection, and they potentially, if they really wanted to, they could also trade up a few spots too if there's a player still sitting on the board when they pick. But again, Sauce is not going to be there at 13.
No.
But again, there are other needs they have. There's going to be opportunities. There's going to be value at number 13 for them to select a player that'll help them as well. So that's why I went Sauce Gardner, because he's the best corner, in my opinion, the best player in the draft. He's there at number 3. You take him.
Any thoughts there, Mike?
I agree. I wish he was wearing an Eagles uniform tomorrow, but not going to happen.
Yeah. And, Gators got a really good comment here. It's going to be a huge defensive draft until the 2nd and 3rd round.
I could see that.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of defensive.
The offensive talent's just not there, especially normally when you look at a draft, you look at the quarterback position specifically, and you're like, there's all these guys and they go 1 and 2, and this isn't that draft. Now, there's going to be reaches in the quarterback position tomorrow. We know that for a fact because they get their April rankings as opposed to their real rankings. Look at Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
But none of these guys are first-round talents, in my opinion.
I will say I'm going to agree and slightly disagree with you, Chip. The offensive talent in this draft is a lot of good offensive depth pieces. I don't think there's going to be any massive superstars. It's going to be a lot of good wide receivers, but you're going to get solid NFL contributors in the 4th, 5th, 6th round. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to get like your Charlie Kohlers, the tight end from Iowa State, guys like that, guys that are going to be really big contributors. And one thing that I love about the draft, and I say it on the Dynasty Rewind all the time, the NFL doesn't care about your fantasy team. So that's the best part, is running with the fantasy circles on Twitter, seeing people go ballistic when defensive players and linemen get taken. I love it. I love seeing people throw fits over things they can't control. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And that's what the draft's all about. And it's what makes it fun. So now, back up to you, Chipper, with the New York Jets. Is the pick in?
The pick is in.
Sorry.
I have the other background music playing to try and get some music happening, and you forget the button.
I know.
With the 4th overall pick in the NFL draft, the Jets, who need just about every bit of help, take Evan Neal, offensive tackle, Alabama.
That's a good pick. They need offensive line. The one thing that came out with them was Their selection, Mekhi Becton.
Yeah.
There's been some talk that he played at well over 400 pounds last year when he did play, and he may not wear a Jets jersey ever again. So right there kind of, points you to that. I know they have George Fant, but you need offensive line help. And Evan Neal can play either left or right tackle. He's a very physically gifted big man. If you want to give him that title. The offensive line class, offensive tackle class, we're going to see it coming up in the next couple of picks, I'm sure. Ike Ekwonu, you have Charles Cross, Trevor Penning, Bernard Raymond. So there's some offensive tackle depth in the first round at least. But once you get past those guys, there's going to be a big drop off. And that's why you're going to see a lot of these guys going early when teams who need tackle help, they're not going to be passing on them. Now, like me with the Texans, I did pass on them, but again, there is a handful there with the pick that Texans could still slip into one. So, but no, this is a good pick for the Jets. They need to shore up that offensive line.
And you're talking about shoring up offensive line. I think offensive linemen are boring, right? Because it's not
terribly boring.
It's not the splashy pick that we want. I was just thinking about Lane Johnson, 4th overall. Okay, in 2013. The first offensive skill position taken in 2013 was Tavon Austin, 8th overall by the then St. Louis Rams. The next offensive skill player was E.J. Manuel at 16.
No.
And then after that, it was DeAndre Hopkins at 27. And I mean, the rest of the first round was Cordero Patterson at 29. And that was it for offensive skill players. So listen, again, it may be boring. It's not going to make for the best ratings, but this is how you build a team.
One of my worst tweet takes of all time is that EJ Manuel was going to be a good NFL quarterback.
That's
pretty bad.
That's not good, Chip.
I own up to that one. And with that being said, we are ready to move on. And Mr. Bauer, you are on the clock, sir, with the New York Giants.
All right. The New York Giants, they need to shore up an offensive line as well. And they're going to take Charles Cross from Mississippi State. Did I say that right? Mississippi State. Yes. There we go. That's what they need, man. You know what? You want to keep Saquon healthy and on the field? You got to block for him a little bit. Kind of curious to see what happens with Daniel Jones, too. I don't know. A lot of people said that Dwayne Haskins should have been the pick, and, rest in peace to Dwayne Haskins, but I thought neither of them were very good. I did think Daniel Jones was the better pick over Haskins at the time. It looks like I wasn't right about any of it. None of them ended up being very good NFL quarterbacks. So.
Adam, who is this we that are we passing on? We're not passing on any offensive tackles. So far, we've taken 2 edge rushers, a corner, and 2 offensive tackles in our draft.
I think he's talking about Ike Ekwonu. So,
yeah, he is.
Yeah. So, again,
I think it's just preference at that point, right?
We'll see. Charles Cross. You have Andrew Thomas there, but otherwise for the Giants, they don't have much of anything else. You can see the Giants go a couple directions here. Now they do have picks 5 and 7, but you can see them going an edge rusher, a corner. They do need some help in a number of areas, and this draft is for them to be able to finally hit on some picks and to be able to start setting up their roster. As Eagles fans, we don't really want to see that, but again, they're lining up to be able to start building their roster with their new GM, their new head coach. So for me, looking at this pick, it's an offensive lineman, and I know they've been tied to Charles Cross. I think they like Charles Cross a lot. So for this pick, it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, all the names you mentioned for the Giants, Saquon, we're not sure if he's going to be on the team next year. Daniel Jones, he's in the last year, the optioning of it all. This is a team that is just there's a reason why they're picking at 5. They're a bad football team, but they had a bad coach. I mean, this is a problem program. They had no wide receiver touchdowns last year, or the big name guys. This is a bad program. So it's pretty much throw a dart at the wall and hope that they can contribute.
Yeah. So with that, leads us now to the next selection, number 6. The Carolina Panthers are on the clock. And with this pick, now you're looking at, this is where I could see the potential first trade scenario.
Okay.
The Panthers don't pick until, I believe, 134 after number 6 pick.
Jesus.
So they need some
We'll
picks.
verify that for you now.
And for that, they need a quarterback. They need an offensive tackle. But for me, I'm looking at this team, and we're not doing trades. I don't see a quarterback worthy of the number 6 selection.
No, there's not.
But with the number 6 pick, Carolina Panthers select offensive tackle Ike Ekwonu, NC State. So
looks like you were correct. Number 6, and then they don't have a pick until round 4. That's 137.
137.
Okay. 144, 149, 199, and 242. So they're missing out. Missing those second and third round picks is going to be really big for them. A lot of people had mocked Kenny Pickett here. Personally, I think it would be in their best interest to trade back. And, they need to load up they need some other stuff out there in Carolina. I also don't think Matt Rule is the guy for that job. To me, he's just the most recent Chip Kelly, to be honest with you. So
Matt Rule's a guy who took his success at Temple into like bigger coaching opportunities and somehow turned it into an NFL job.
Yeah, and I think he's one of those guys, like, he's a good college coach, and he should just be a college coach. You know what I mean? Chip Kelly, same thing. Urban Meyer was the same thing.
Yeah. And I think it's, interesting, the Carolina Panthers saying, oh, well, we told Sam Darnold already we might go after a quarterback. None of the quarterbacks in this draft are worthy of being number 6. That's why in the top, the way our draft is shaking out, it's very interesting. The top 6 picks are all linemen, either side of the ball, or Sauce Gardner. Ours is the most sensible draft you're going to see.
I think so too.
That being said, I think I'm on the clock, right?
Doesn't it go back to me now? How do we do that?
No, I'm 7. Okay. So I
thought you were older than that.
No. It goes me, you, Johnny. No. And Johnny's working himself out, by the way, that he gets both of the Eagles picks. I just want to point that out. Caught.
Well, you're also muted, Johnny.
Caught. Don't overlook the fact, Conway's saying, don't overlook the fact that Carolina owner is a Pitt booster.
That's why they wanted that. That's why they're a trade back scenario with the Eagles possibly at 15, where Kenny Pickett could still be.
Also, if you want to make the Pitt connections, Matt Canada, the Steelers' offensive coordinator, was the person that recruited Kenny Pickett to Pitt. So there's another just tidbit right there.
Cool. All right, well, my pick is in. With the number 7 pick in the NFL draft, the New York Giants are gifted an absolute shocker to have fallen all the way to 7, and they will take from the University of Oregon, Kayvon Thibodeau.
Hey, like I said, they come away with pretty good picks in this draft. They come away with Charles Cross, they get their tackle, and they get their edge rusher. They need edge rush help.
They do.
They need a lot of help, but this kind of helps them shore up the trenches, if you want to say. So, I like Thibodeau a lot. I like him more than Trayvon Walker, more than Aiden Hutchinson.
I do too. He's one of those guys that the hype surrounding him in college was so much. And this, freak athlete thing, and he's falling quick.
Now, the thing you also have to remember, though, with the draft is there's a lot of smoke screens that get put up.
Sure.
Especially teams that are saying stuff because they want teams to trade up or they want certain things to happen. They want teams to not take a player. And, a lot of things happen when it comes to the smoke screens in the draft, and especially the week of, and now, basically 1 day away, less than a day away. But Kayvon Thibodeau, he brings pass rush help to the Giants, who they were pretty bad last year.
The Giants all around were a garbage
They
team.
were bad.
Big time.
Defensively, they were pretty bad last year. And they do need secondary help, but again, they can get that in the second round as well. I don't know if it's Gator's saying here, I don't know if it's drama. I know there's a lot where he wants to pursue possibly a media career after the fact. I know he's had a couple interviews and over the week, talking. But for me, I don't know. Even if Thibodeau is like what Dave's saying here, even if Thibodeau's the next Clowney, that's still a productive player.
That's a good career.
That is a very, very talented player, and to get him at number 7, to me, the potential outweighs whatever risk you may think he has.
Right.
I don't think there's any red flags. I don't think there's really any medical concerns. I know a lot of scouts were saying they don't think he has the bend and the type of explosiveness off the edge that the other prospects have. Watching him, I wouldn't say he doesn't have the bend or he doesn't have the explosiveness. He gets off the ball. He could be a little bit stiff at times, but I still think he's a top 10 talent, no doubt.
All right. So we are now we are up to Mr. Bauer at pick 8 with the Atlanta Falcons.
All right. So the Atlanta Falcons are on the clock. The Atlanta Falcons are another team that kind of need a little bit of everything. don't they? Yeah, sadly.
They need so much help. I want to point that out. They need so much help that wide receiver is listed twice.
Oh, man. That is
So is linebacker.
oh my God, you're right. Yeah.
That's how much help this team needs, is that they're saying in the first round of pick 8, you need to draft 2 of the same exact position.
That's pretty impressive. But I'll tell you what, let's just do it up for him here, and we are gonna go with Trayvon Walker from Georgia. They need an edge rusher. He's a guy sitting there at 8. He's the guy. Let's see. I
don't believe he is. I think Trayvon Walker was taken by the Lions, number 2.
Was he?
He was.
I'm sorry. Forgive me.
That's why I couldn't find him.
I'm looking at the board, and the NFL draft thing is right in the way, so it's hard for me to see. I guess I should open this on another screen. Okay, I did have a backup. Forgive me. I'm sorry about that, everybody watching.
Is that considered tampering?
Yes. All right. My second guy for this pick was Derek Stingley. And
he's available.
Yes. I did find an interesting thing here. For his career, he only allowed a 41.1% completion percentage. That's playing in the SEC. Let's not forget, LSU was not good last year. So they were on defense a lot. To only allow that in the SEC, that's pretty impressive to me. I know Stingley's name was mentioned a little bit heavier early in the draft process, was it not?
Oh, yeah, he was.
But I mean, he was being talked about as the first overall. And no, it's not collusion, Gator. He was talked about possibly being the first overall defensive back.
Right.
Yeah, he was, as one of those top picks, especially after he garnered a lot of attention after his freshman season for how well he played and that he was going to be the next star corner. He's going to be a top 5 pick, which, again, he still could be a top 5 pick depending on how the draft falls. But he lost. He had a lot of steam. He lost a little bit, but then he started to gain it back after his pro day workout and all that kind of stuff. But the one thing with him is, if he's healthy, he's a stud.
Yeah.
I know he's had a couple of injuries. I know the opt out, the COVID year, everything like that. He didn't play, so that's a little bit tough. Otherwise, I think it's a great pick for the Falcons. AJ Terrell, who they have on the other side. You shore up both corners. Stingley and Terrell, 2 young players who, can be bookends for you in the secondary for at least 10 years. So it's a great
I'll tell
picture
you
of-
what, looking at what Atlanta has as options for Mariota to throw to,
Gross.
I would be absolutely floored if the Atlanta Falcons do not select a wide receiver at 8.
It's possible.
I would be absolutely shocked if they don't select a wide receiver at 8 because they have nothing besides Pitts. They have nobody for him to throw the ball to. So that's me. Darren saying, imagine if Derek Stingley Jr. is on the board for us at 15. I would jump. And at that point, I would trade up a couple spots for that. See, Gator, I think Gator and I agree more than, he agrees with you. Shocked that a wide receiver was not the pick. And Adam's saying that drafting Stingley is banking on him returning to his 2019 form, which is what Johnny's saying. And speaking of Johnny, you're on the clock, sir.
So with the 9th selection, Seattle Seahawks are on the clock. And you're looking, of course, they need a quarterback. I know Drew Lock. I know there's Baker Mayfield talk. There's no quarterbacks that I would select here at 9. I know Malik Willis. You're looking at the potential, but I don't really feel at 9 they need to be
Geno Smith too, though, so they're good.
Yeah, Geno. By the way, that's my quarterback miss. I thought Geno Smith was going to be a very good quarterback. And
I did not. I was never sold on him.
Yeah. All right, Mr. EJ Manuel.
Listen, you just said Geno Smith. We are the same.
I know.
At least Geno Smith has had an NFL career. You know what I mean? Like, he's vested. He's going to get a pension.
Fact.
See, that is very true.
Fact.
So, looking at the board, again, this could be possibly another trade down scenario, just because of where the board sits, where the board lays right now, at least. The needs for the Seahawks, quarterback, tackle, and they need some edge. They need corners. But I'm going to throw a little wrench in here, and I'm going to go Seattle Seahawks are going to take Kyle Hamilton.
Wow.
Notre Dame. Now, a lot of people want to say you already have a player like Jamal Adams, but I think they are different in terms of the type of players. I think for me, Kyle Hamilton, I like the player, but if I had a choice of safeties, I like Jaquan Brisker better. I like Lewis Seen. But again, it depends on what kind of defense you run. And I feel with Seattle and the way they run the defense, I think Kyle Hamilton can fit well for Pete Carroll in that defense. And I think this will be a great selection because I think the corners on the board, it'd be too big of a reach to pick them at 9, whether Trent McDuffie, whether it's Andrew Booth. So for me, Kyle Hamilton, still sitting there at number 9. It's a great value pick at that spot.
This would not be surprising to me if the Seahawks take Malik Willis in that spot.
I would be shocked.
It wouldn't shock me either. But in my eyes, I don't think the value at number 9, when there's other needs on the board and there's other players there. But that's just me.
Okay. That means I'm back on the clock with the frickin' Jets again, doesn't it?
Yep.
Oh, God, you guys are killing me with the frickin' Jets. All right.
It should be easy. It should be an easy one.
I mean, I have my pick. I'm not sure if you're going to agree. With the 10th overall pick, I think that the damn Jets are going to take Jermaine Johnson, edge rusher out of Florida State.
Oh, okay. They need edge rush help. So
they do need edge rush help, and they have a defensive-minded coach.
Yeah, they need to shore up their edge rusher. Receiver you could see too, but I think right now, Jermaine Johnson on the board, I think that's a good pick.
I approve this message.
Yeah. And with that being the first 10 picks, we are now at the place where we are going to speed up our NFL draft mock selection shows so that we do not turn into the real NFL draft, which takes 4 damn hours to make 32 damn picks.
You know what I should have done? I should have downloaded the music. The you know, the ESPN
I know what
music?
you mean.
Yeah, I should have downloaded that when we were discussing the players. Could have.
You
But is
should
it
have.
my turn? Am I talking Commanders?
It is. You are talking Commanders. You are in commander of the screen right now.
The pick is in.
Okay, cool.
And I think it's going to be Jameson Williams from Alabama. They have Terry McLaurin and a whole lot of question marks at the wide receiver core. They have Logan Thomas at tight end. Yep, that's it. Defensively, I don't think any of the linebackers are worthy of being selected right now. I almost said the Redskins. And then I almost said the Washington football team. The Commanders, which is so lame. They have a really good defensive line. I think Jameson Williams is going to be fine. There are some people saying he's on pace to be okay for training camp. Let's be real. Carson Wentz has a big enough arm where he can get the ball down the field. Terry McLaurin can stretch the field, but not as good as Jameson Williams, one of the fastest wide receivers in this class. Although I will say, I think Mechie's release off the line is faster than Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams has better overall speed.
Yeah, I think that they have to give Carson Wentz some toys because there's so many question marks around him. I do think that, not necessarily the way that we did it. I think that the Commanders take Kyle Hamilton. I think they somehow managed to get him. That pick makes a lot more sense to me. But with the way our board is shaking, I think, they're going to pick a wide receiver just to give Wentz somebody to throw to.
So with that brings me to number 12 and the Minnesota Vikings.
Is your pick in, Johnny? I'm just playing it anyway.
And with the number 12 overall pick, the Minnesota Vikings select, that's going to be not so good selection because I don't think many people will like this one. Especially they envision him going to the Eagles. But I'm going to go with George Karlaftis. Now,
I'm going to have to find him.
Edge Purdue. I know a lot of people see him going in the late teens, early 20s. Edge rush help for the Minnesota Vikings. Everson Griffin's, I don't think he's going to be there anymore. Daniil Harris has some injury concerns. I know there's some talk about possibly dealing him, but there's some interior offensive line help need. I don't see that at 12. I'm going to go with the edge rusher. Edge rushers are coming off the board fast. You wait any longer, you're not going to be able to get the top tier of edge rushers. And I think Karlaftis is getting a little bit of too much hate in my eyes. I think he'll fit well in Minnesota.
Yeah, and once they put that pick in, I get the joy of picking for the Texans, hooray, huzzah, where they absolutely sprint to the podium. My pick is in.
Boom.
Where the Houston Texans select Jordan Davis, interior defensive lineman, Georgia.
Massive human being, 6'6", 340.
Ooh.
He is a monster human being. Another guy who they have talked about his draft status is kind of going all over the place. And I know the Eagles are somebody that, that's a rumored spot. But the fact of the matter is that if you have somebody of that size clogging the interior of your defensive line, I mean, that is a pick there. That is a surefire home run. So at this point, the Texans have taken an interior defensive lineman and a corner. They have fixed their defense exponentially in the first 13 picks of this draft.
Very good for them. Now that leads to the Baltimore Ravens, and who are probably sad because Jordan Davis would have been perfect fit for their team. Now they have the pick.
They did not run to the podium.
Who's up now?
That's you, Mike.
Oh, that's me. So the Ravens do a lot of things well. Their line has been not great lately. Here's a guy that I know a lot of people are high on. I'm not so high on Trevor Penning, but I think that this is where this could be a good spot for him.
Yeah.
I did watch some Northern Iowa film. I watched some Isaiah Weston, and I will tell you what, for supposedly this guy being so good, his quarterback was on his ass a lot. But there's also 4 other guys that play on the offensive line as well. So, at this point in the draft, a lot of people could be saying it's a value, getting a possible franchise level offensive tackle at pick 14.
Penning's the pick?
Yep, Penning's the pick. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Adam's saying that the Ravens will somehow manage to trade up for Davis. They can't let him slip away. It's very possible. I mean, I think that those two, even Johnny said, Jordan Davis going off the board 1 pick before. Remember, if you're just joining us, we are not doing any trades. We know that is not realistic. And with that said, Johnny gets to do his first Eagles pick the way he finagled it. You're caught. You're caught, sir.
All right.
Is there any booing on here so I could boo Johnny? Nope, there's not. Sorry.
We'll just boo him collectively.
Boo.
You can play the little dinging. Go ahead.
The humana.
Yes.
You have to say the pick is in. That you have
The
to
pick
say.
is in. And with the number 15 selection, the Philadelphia Eagles select wide receiver Garrett Wilson, Ohio State University.
Good pick. Good pick.
And Jamison Williams is not there. I know Drake London, there's a lot of talk about him, but I think Garrett Wilson will be a perfect fit in the offense. Him and Devontae Smith, I think they have I think their talents are pretty similar. But I feel like it gives Jalen Hurts another weapon because Jalen Reagor, I don't see him on the 53-man roster. I don't see him breaking camp with them. You have Quez Watkins, you have Zach Pascal, you add another receiver, and to me, I think it's the pick, especially if he's left on the board here at 15. I think there's no doubt you select him with this pick.
I would be thrilled.
I think that's great.
This was the pick. I would absolutely be so happy if they took Garrett Wilson. 100%.
Yeah, big time. I think that's a fantastic pick.
Who up next?
Me with the Saints. The pick is in. All right. See how this one sits with everybody. With the 16th pick in the NFL draft, I believe that the New Orleans Saints are going to select quarterback Malik Willis out of Liberty.
Ooh.
Let me put it this way. Right now, the depth chart in New Orleans is Jameis Winston. I'm pretty sure Andy Dalton is there still.
He is there. He was signed.
I'm pretty sure Ian Book is still there.
He is.
And I'm pretty sure the absolute joke of a quarterback is still there as well.
He's a tight end now.
Oh, is he?
Question.
Taysom Hill. Oh, he's listed as tight end. Yeah, look at that.
Is this a lock? Because I have the you like a lock soundbite on here too.
I don't think it's a lock. I think if every single quarterback is still available,
He wanted to use
it.
I did.
I think if every single quarterback is still available, I think that Malik Willis is the best option in that offense, or what we think that offense is going to be. I think at that point you can run an offense for Jameis Winston and Malik Willis. I think they have a lot of similar skill sets from what I've seen. I think Kenny Pickett's the better quarterback out of them. But just based on what the Saints have already, I think they take Willis.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate it.
They need quarterback play.
They need a lot. They
do.
I will say this. That's another team that needs wide receiver help too.
It is. And they do have another pick. So
this is true.
Let's bring it up to number 17, the Los
It's
Angeles
going to be my
Chargers.
pick again, I think.
Power.
the Los Angeles Chargers. Can you bring that screen up for me there, Charles? There we go. Lovely. All right, I have to go back to my big board. Forgive me. I got too many.
If you need me to scroll, let me know.
Now I have my board up here. Oh my god. Okay, I believe. Sorry, forgive me. I'm lagging a little bit over here. You're gonna have to forgive me. I'm sorry. I have like 17 tabs open on my computer right now. So, okay, I think they take a guy that stays close to home. This is who I had queued up next, and I think they take Drake London, wide receiver from USC. Here's why: Keenan Allen starting to get a little bit older. They have Josh Palmer, who's a third rounder from Tennessee. They have Mike Williams. Mike Williams battled some injuries, been a little bit inconsistent. And aside from that, they have Jalen Guyton. So Drake London, a guy, look, here's the thing. You need offensive firepower to play in the AFC, especially the AFC West. Every one of those games should be on prime time, for the record, for the main reason to torture any of those fans that are on the East Coast. You now have to stay up late to watch your team. I don't care. Dad life. So Drake London, I think he's the perfect fit for the should still be San Diego Chargers offense, and that's my pick.
I'm fine with that because that means the Eagles aren't tempted to take him at any point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate Drake London like a lot of other Eagles fans do. There's just other wide receivers I would prefer this team to have over him.
There's a bad taste in the mouth of wide receivers from USC right now.
Well, in all fairness, that wide receiver from USC was a lot better than the one that we picked from TCU. So,
very, very, very true.
Yeah. Very factual.
Yeah,
do you have a truth bomb sound effect? Truth.
I have that. And I have one time Nate said something really stupid on the podcast, so I made it into a soundbite.
Takes every single inch of it.
Okay.
There you go.
Johnny, you get to make the second Eagles pick now.
So the pick is in. And this one's tough. This is where I can see the Eagles trading back.
Okay.
But with the number 18 selection in the NFL draft.
Come on, do it. Do it for me.
No, I'm not doing it for you. Don't worry. But I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles select Andrew Booth Jr., cornerback, Clemson. I like him better than I like Trent McDuffie. I think Booth fits perfectly on the outside, perfectly in a system where they can play press man. I know he's kind of slipping down some boards in some mock drafts. I've seen him going in the 20s. Recently, I saw him go as lower round 23 to Arizona. But for me, this shores up your cornerback number 2 because right now, you don't have a cornerback 2 on the roster. You don't have somebody that could play. I know after the draft, you can sign a veteran and all that good stuff. But again, you need some youth. You need some young guys. You need some building blocks. And I feel like this is a building block at the cornerback position for the Philadelphia Eagles.
I agree. I like the pick.
I think it's a strong pick. I mean, it's a strong pick. I think you have to take a corner, and then it's just really your personal preference. So, good on you. Way to pick one. Which puts me back on the clock with the Saints. Again, I've already absolutely decimated their franchise by taking Malik Willis at 16. What's that?
Is the pick in?
The pick is in. When you get a quarterback, you need to bring in some toys to go with it. With the 19th pick in the NFL draft, I do believe that the Saints will take Chris Olave, wide receiver, Ohio State. Wide receiver, Ohio State. Chris Olave.
Love the pick. Love the
Very
pick.
good pick.
Yeah. A lot of people are bashing.
I did my homework, guys.
A lot of people are bashing Chris Olave in the fantasy circles for going back for his senior season, but Chris Olave, man, good route runner, good hands, fast, a little faster than I expected him to be. So for him to go to 19, and if he really went almost anywhere before this, probably no higher than like 10. Wouldn't hate that either. You're getting a good route runner. You're going to get a guy that can probably come in and contribute day one.
Well, and you need to because of you still do not have Michael Thomas.
Is he still not back? I really haven't been following.
I don't think he is ever going to play football again.
Really?
He certainly won't play with the Saints. He's still on their roster, though.
Yeah, I don't know what that situation is, but you need to get another receiver in that room.
Get a wide receiver route runner, yeah.
Question for you guys then. If he never wants to play for the Saints again, do you think Howie should explore a trade? Or do you not even want that head case here? Because he's
I think it's 2 years removed from him playing football.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of out on that.
And we're not a win now team right now anyway. So I would say it wouldn't really make sense.
It depends on what the deal would be. If they still expect
course.
first round pick for it, absolutely not. He's not a first round pick anymore. But as far as like, hey, give up a fourth, maybe like a conditional third situation, okay.
You don't want to be giving up the next Davion Taylor. Come on.
You don't, but he's better than a third round pick.
True.
Or you have to hope he is.
Now it brings us to number 20, and Mr. Bauer gets the pick for the
I know this
Pittsburgh
pick.
Steelers.
I know this pick.
With the 20th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, Pennsylvania's other team selects Kenny Pickett, quarterback.
Damn right they do.
Mine as well, because he is right now better than anything they have on their roster. Sorry, Trubisky truthers, both of you. But yeah, he's just better. And look, the fact of the matter is, I do think, and I was talking to this on one of our guys on our YouTube channel, I do think that you're going to start seeing the NFL go back to pro-style quarterbacks again.
Yeah.
There's a lot of these guys that come in that can run. They can run. That's great. But there's a lot of things they can't do. What can Kenny Pickett do that other quarterbacks can't? Yes, I know his hands are small. We've heard. But he can scan the field well, doesn't lock onto his first read. He throws the ball with anticipation, drives the ball, throws his receivers open. That's what teams want and need. Good ball placement. Let your playmakers make plays after they get the ball in their hands.
Yeah, this is a no-brainer pick for me. I feel like Johnny already had this queued up ready to go.
Yeah, once he fell, he
Yeah.
got that. Which brings me now to me. The 21st selection, the New England Patriots. The pick is in. And with the 21st selection in the NFL draft, the New England Patriots select Zion Johnson, interior offensive lineman from Boston College.
Cool.
Hometown
Good pick,
guy,
good pick.
Boston College there. The Patriots need some interior line help. They kind of patched it with a few guys last year. They lost Joe Thuney to the Kansas City Chiefs. So they lost a really talented player in last year's free agent class. So, Bill Belichick, get an interior offensive line, not a sexy pick, but they have their quarterback of the future. They drafted last year in Mac Jones. They need to protect them.
That's not a team that really ever requires sexy players. They pick what they feel is best. Gator is really appreciating this show because he said, hey, as long as Mike gets to pick it, good podcast. So he did, just wrong team. And apparently Gator is very upset with me since I sent both Malik Willis and Chris Olave to the NFC South against his Tampa Bay Bucks.
That is correct. He's not a fan of that.
But am I wrong? I am not. Now I got to try and make some sense of the Green Bay Packers. Oh, boy.
Remember, you got to be realistic. Like
I know I do.
The Eagles drafting a linebacker in the first round doesn't happen. Packers drafting, skill position players in the first round.
Can I just say something? Since
Sure.
2012, they've drafted a skill position player in the first round once, and it was Jordan Love. So
Well, I'm gonna be realistic of what they need. Right? The Green Bay Packers gave up the best receiver in football. They got Aaron Rodgers to come back and then immediately got rid of his best weapons.
So stupid.
They got to give him something. They have to give him something, and I think they do. The pick is in.
Sorry, I was stretching.
You're good. And the pick for me, for the Green Bay Packers, is a little wide receiver by the name of Dotson out of Penn State.
John Dotson. I love
Love
the
it.
player. I think it is a little too early for him.
It's a reach. It's a reach pick.
I could see them going like a Treylon Burks if they're going to go receiver. But again, it's a position of need for them with losing Devontae Adams, and they lost Valdez-Scantling as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a reach pick, but you can't argue with his speed and his college production. And where
the quarterback play.
With terrible quarterback play. And the reason why I picked Dotson over Burks is more of the weather thing, right? So in Green Bay, you see snow, and Dotson has played in the snow. Treylon Burks out of Arkansas has never done such things.
I guess you can say a little bit with that.
I actually think John Dotson is a more complete wide receiver than Treylon Burks. He can block. And here's the thing. John Dotson has an ability to get open while he's covered. He just has a second gear to him that I notice he has a guy draped all over him, and he just has like a little bit of an extra burst and a twitch. And I'm a Penn State fan. I'm a bit of a homer here. I've also watched almost every game that he's played in since he's been in State College. So
he's a good player.
He really is. And a lot of people are like, he's only 5'11". Again, Odell Beckham Jr. is 5'11", people. So 5'11" is not a death sentence for wide receivers in the NFL. Not when you can get open and you have sticky hands like John Dotson. I don't know why his hands are sticky, but he catches almost everything.
Sticky. I like this Gator guy. Gator, you got to tune in more often because you and I, man, we're getting along real nice.
Gator is my dude. He's awesome.
So
who's up next?
You're up next, sir.
Nice. Who's on the clock?
The Arizona Cardinals.
Arizona Cardinals. All right. So the Arizona Cardinals are going to take someone.
That's a good idea.
You're really messing up my board here, just so you guys know. Not happy with it.
Thank you.
I'm just saying. All right. So let me see. Okay, Chris Olave was my next highest guy. He is off the clock already. Is there any way you could bring up the entire draft for me thus far? Or scroll down a little bit for me? Okay. Perfect. All right. Then here's what I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to do. I think they're going to take the aforementioned Treylon Burks.
Ooh.
Sorry.
But first, they're going to hit that sound effect.
Do I did that sound effect? So Treylon Burks, is he a complete wide receiver? He does have some deficiencies. He could be a little lazy when the ball's not coming to him. His pass blocking is not, or his run blocking is not the best. A lot of people are saying he wants to be the next Deebo Samuel. That's not his game, in my opinion. He does have a pretty high ceiling, I think. I think he's a guy, he's fairly physical with the ball in his hands. I've seen a couple times, bit of a hothead. He's going to have to calm down a little bit. But playing across from DeAndre Hopkins for a year or two is going to make this pick look like a stroke of genius. I don't know if Cliff Kingsbury is going to be there long term, but if you want to keep a guy like Kyler Murray happy, he needs to have more weapons. Christian Kirk is gone. Treylon Burks, fantastic replacement for him. Andy Isabella, he ain't it. Some of these other guys are just okay. So I like Treylon in the desert. And it doesn't snow there, hopefully.
There you
It does
go.
not snow there.
So brings us to number 24 and the Dallas Cowboys. I'll make it short and sweet.
Hold on.
Just boo nail. Yeah.
Very good.
I have been waiting a long time for that.
The pick is in for them.
Not 24 picks. They don't get the sound effect. Don't push the button.
Okay. So Dallas Cowboys select with them. They select 24th overall offensive lineman Kenyon Green, Texas A&M. Can play tackle, can play guard, can play anywhere on the line. They need some help there. Losing Connor Williams, Tyron Smith's always injured, so it gives them a versatile offensive lineman to be able to plug in and play. Next,
I'm not talking about it. I don't give a damn.
Next pick, 25. That's you, Chipper.
Cool. I'm ready. The Buffalo Bills. You know what? Their pick is in. Here is the deal. The Buffalo Bills are offensively pretty strong, and they've kind of managed to do what they need to do with what they already have. So I'm going to the defensive side of the ball. I see that corner is an area of need So I am going to go with the highest ranking corner still available, Trent McDuffie, cornerback out of Washington.
Love it.
It's a need for them. You're hoping Tre'Davious White is back fully healthy for them. They lost Levi Wallace, so they need to shore up the secondary. Add another cornerback to that room. It's a good pick for them. A team that is very talented, that doesn't have a lot of needs, so they're able to pick kind of the best player available. Plus, also it's a need for them, so it kind of works out both ways on their end there. So this brings Mr. Bauer, number 26, the Tennessee Titans.
I'd like to take a moment and say that I am not happy with the teams I've had to pick for today.
Are you happy with the fact that Johnny's gotten to pick every good team that we want to all pick for?
He did have to pick the Cowboys, in all fairness.
But 2 Eagles picks.
Yeah, what's up with that, man? We should have made consensus picks. Is what we should have done.
Well,
Mr.
you snooze, you lose. So
okay. Anyway, I think what the Tennessee Titans need to compete is a little bit more firepower. A.J. Brown is great. A.J. Brown does get banged up a lot, though. I hate to admit. I think Tannehill, he's still got a couple years left. And since I can't see the whole board, what was that?
That was where I would go if I was making this pick. We have a couple picks left. Do you want to start trading the picks to other individual ones of us?
You mean if we don't want to make the pick?
You trade me the pick for the Titans, and then you would get to pick for my next pick, which would be the
28.
Packers.
Okay, yeah.
So we'll make a trade?
We'll make a trade. I don't have a trade noise in here, though. So
okay. So
there's nothing in Bank C.
It's fine.
So okay.
So you just traded the 26th overall pick to me, where I will be selecting for the Tennessee Titans. Have to scroll down. Matt Corral, quarterback, Ole Miss.
Yeah, that'd be one of the worst draft picks.
Listen, here's what it comes down to for me. The only thing really holding back the Tennessee Titans is quarterback play. And yeah, maybe Tannehill does have a couple years left. Corral's coming off a pretty nasty injury. Let him recover and then let him take over and see if he can be the guy.
I guess so. I still don't like the pick.
Okay, well, you didn't get traded. You didn't make a good offer.
Yeah, well, I didn't. It is what it is.
For the record, that is not the pick I would have made there. And
what would you have done?
Well, I can't say it because what if my next pick isn't there then? Well, hold on.
That's
Who's
true.
up next? The
Buccaneers.
My pick would have been George Pickens, but he's going to go. My next pick is 28. Then that's where he's going to go. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. 27.
2 receivers for the Packers. Isn't that interesting?
That's what they need. Are you up? Who's up?
I am up with
Johnny is up.
Buccaneers.
Is the pick?
Yeah, this is an important one because
the pick is in.
Because Gator has been really watching us closely. So this is an important pick, Johnny.
He already has someone he wants picked, and Gator, I love you, but the guy you want to go is not a first round draft pick.
Was that Kyrie Elam?
Damian Pierce.
Yeah. No, I'm not going that way. So with the 27th selection, Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Lewis Cine, safety, Georgia. You lose Jordan Whitehead. Antoine Winfield Jr. is a very talented player, but you add to the back end of that defense, get a young player in there. They have their linebacking core is top notch. They have great players all over that team. But you add a young player like Lewis Cine that could step right in, start right away. And I think it'd be a perfect pick for them. And I think he is a first round talent.
Cool beans.
Nito Supremo.
That brings me up next, correct?
Yes, it does.
Hopefully Gator like that selection.
Yes, the Gator like the selection of Lewis Cine out of Georgia.
He will let you know momentarily. All right. The pick is in. The Green Bay Packers. They need to get nasty. They need George Pickens. If you want to see what George Pickens can do, not just as a catcher of the football, type in George Pickens versus Michigan and watch him just absolutely level a Michigan defensive back and then stand over him as he watches his soul escape his body. George Pickens apparently has character concerns, but here's the thing. We're at the point in the pre-draft process where every single thing that they are doing, that these guys are doing, are being absolutely analyzed to a T. It reminds me of when I was buying a house. The mortgage company called me and said, hey, I saw you made a charge on your Discover card for this amount. What was that for? That's what everyone is doing with these prospects right now. But George Pickens, he played an offense that isn't really super conducive to throwing the football. However, came back this year from an ACL tear. I think he is fast enough. He's physical. He's nasty. He's short-handed. He's a decent route runner. 28. Pairing him with Jahan Dotson, this gives Aaron Rodgers some weapons. They're going to have to throw the ball. The rest of the NFC North is getting a little bit better here. They got to do something to keep staying on top there. George Pickens.
Okay.
So now that goes back to now since we're all screwed up.
We're not. We're
No.
back to me.
Okay, go ahead.
Is the pick
Kansas
in?
City Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Back-to-back picks.
You had back-to-back picks.
for them.
Back-to-back picks. So my pick for the Kansas City Chiefs, I feel because they have the back-to-back picks, I feel like they can take a chance at either 29 or 30. It doesn't really matter. But I am going to select David Ojabo, edge rusher, Michigan.
They're a team that can do that. They're a team that can do this because they're so talented that they can take a flyer on a player that may not play this year. Or if he does play, he may play at the end of the year.
Right.
Basically, it's a redshirt season for him, and he's still a talented player. So I think it's a good pick for them.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate your help. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
So
Barry,
now-
you as well get to pick the same team.
Exactly. Michael Bauer gets to pick for the Chiefs. Number 30.
Pick is in. Do you know what the Kansas City Chiefs need?
Receiver.
Wide receivers.
Sky Moore out of Western Michigan. I think he has some of the biggest hands of all the wide receivers in this class, and he's not that big of a guy. But Sky Moore, he's fast. He is very physical for his size with the ball in his hands. It's funny. He went to Western Michigan. My comp for him was actually Dwayne Eskridge, who's a third-round draft pick of the Seattle Seahawks a couple years ago. I think it was last year. But he's got a little bit of a mean streak in him. Fast, gets open, good route runner, and I think he would be really good in the Kansas City Chiefs offense. You know, you have a quarterback that can stretch the field, make every throw. Some throws I wish he wouldn't make. But Mahomes is gonna Mahomes. So you'd fit him well there. And,
Mahomes.
you know, you got to think about it too with Juju, MVS there. Sky Moore doesn't have to play right away. So he can be eased in a little bit. And that brings up the Cincinnati Bengals are on the clock, and someone is going to pick.
Jeanne.
That'll be me. And Cincinnati Bengals, we talked about it a lot in the playoffs. You heard about it, about their offensive line. This is where a player who's fallen a little bit, the pick is in, by the way. The number 31 selection, the Cincinnati Bengals select Tyler Linderbaum, center, Iowa. And
Who I love. I love him.
This is a player that fits right in. He is a very physical player. He's a very talented, quick player. He's going to be a starting center for 10 years in this league. And
Easily.
Cincinnati Bengals, luck out for him falling to number 31. They get him to help protect their franchise quarterback.
Question.
Yes.
Do you think a center is a good choice when Bernhard Ryman and Tyler Smith are still on the board, who are two first-round potential tackles?
Remember, though, they just got a tackle from Dallas.
They did get Lyle Collins.
I did forget about that. Forgive me.
No. It's a fair point because you're looking at the biggest weakness of the Bengals team, and it was the fact that they could not keep their quarterback upright. So they went out in free agency, they went out in the trades, they went out in the draft. They're going to get their guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I still like the pick, though, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Tyler Linderbaum is a top tier offensive lineman. I'd be shocked if he falls to 31. But again, offensive lineman is not a sexy position. I would love to see him in midnight green. I think he is a very good football player.
Chip, you make a good point. Offensive lineman, not a sexy position, especially interior offensive lineman.
Yeah.
So this now brings up the number 32nd overall selection, the last pick of our AATBirds NFL mock draft, and it is you, Mr. King.
I'm so ready.
Is the pick in?
The pick is been in.
Boom.
With the final selection in the first round, the Detroit Lions select quarterback Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati. Because Goff ain't it.
He's not. I also think this is a bit of an overdraft for Desmond Ridder. Where did the Lions? Let me see something here. The Lions also pick at 34. And to me, that would make more sense. And they also pick at 66. There's a possibility Desmond Ridder is available at 66 too. I would love to see Desmond Ridder go in either the second or third round. Cheaper for them overall because you're not paying first round and you don't have to worry about the 5th-year option. If he doesn't work out, you could just move on after 4 years. So that's just me personally. I also don't hate it at 32. Desmond Ridder's got some talent. He's a little inconsistent. I will say that with his ball placement at times, but he's pretty mobile. He's not very fast. He's not the fastest guy out there, but he's got a pretty good arm too. I mean, his arm impressed me. I will say that.
Here's the thing. He's better than what they have now.
You know, here's the thing. I will agree to a point. He is better physically than Jared Goff, but between the ears, Jared Goff is still the guy. Jared Goff's played a lot of football. So I think here's the thing. Even if Desmond Ridder gets drafted at 32, he probably doesn't play this year.
No, and he doesn't have to.
That's
and
right.
He doesn't have to play this year.
What are the expectations for the Lions?
Nothing much.
That's what I'm saying. So, yeah, where did Johnny go?
Johnny had to bounce. Johnny's got, babies and such. But this has been the AATBirds official mock draft show. I want to thank my gentlemen, my friends, Johnny and Mike, for coming on and making all these wonderful picks and sneaking in one draft. Don't forget the draft is tomorrow night. We will be, I don't think we're doing any kind of show, but we will be doing some sort of show either this weekend or next week to review the draft. At least here on this network. So make sure you're following along as we kind of tweet out some things and share some thoughts. Is the Draft Dynasty Network doing things?
We're not. We're just going to, with our patrons, we'll chill with them a little bit. But we don't have anything planned, no. Actually, there is a live stream on Friday at 8 a.m. on our YouTube channel for a first round recap. It's going to be fantasy based, though, so not much real football talk there.
So with that being said, we have a lot of great sponsors. Let's just shout them out real quick. Lots of great sponsors, including Statement Games, a fun free twist on fantasy sports. Make sure you are checking them out. We have the AATSportsNetwork.com/shop. Look for some new designs once we get some picks. We have Symbol.com, the stock market for sports. Use the code AATSports when you sign up. We have Vinny's Pizza and Restaurant off the Iroquois Trail in the Old Town Shopping Center in Allentown. Vinny's Pizza, PA.com, along with Stuff to the Grills. Same shopping center, StuffToTheGrills.com. Triple Threat Bets and TripleThreatWagers.com. And big shout out to all of the wonderful people commenting in. Gator, it was fantastic kind of chatting with you through the picks. Adam, we appreciate you. I mean, everybody who snuck in some comments, we appreciate you. And I'm Chip. Gas Mike.
That's me.
Go Birds. Screw it up too bad. We'll see you next time.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.